Hi guys, and welcome to my tier list video for patch 11.16. So I'm still recovering from my jaw surgery, so it's a bit to talk right now. So sorry if any of this video is hard to understand. So before I talk about the actual champions, let's first go over the item change, which is Redemption going from 120 seconds cooldown to 90 and the heal increasing by 20. What this means is Redemption should be up for most skirmishes, which makes it slightly more appealing to pick up. However, for enchanters, Redemption is already competing for an item slot with Staff and Ardent, which are already pretty good items. And for tank supports, you have options like Anathemas or Deadmen. So I think situationally, Redemption is good to build only if you think the fights will go long and the heal will end up mattering. Okay, so the first change to support champs this patch is to Karma. So on the patch notes, there's a big wall of text, but here's what you need to know. Basic attacks no longer reduce the cooldown of Mantra, but in exchange, landing spells will reduce the cooldown of Mantra more. Q will do less damage early, but Mantra Q will hit like a truck now. And lastly, Karma will shield for more, but her Mantra E beat up targets for significantly less. What this means for Karma is I think she's more of a damage threat now, and so I like to play her Q max and Mantra Q style, but with a sprinkle of Mantra E situationally for chasing or disengaging. For Lulu, she got some minor cooldown nerfs, with her W cooldown getting increased by 1 at all ranks and ulti increasing by 10 seconds early. Honestly, these nerfs will hurt her a little bit, but she'll still be good. Lulu is just a really well-rounded character that doesn't lose her losing matchups hard, but in her good matchups she can punish pretty well, and she scales really well with all her utility. Up next is Maokai, who got a small buff to his passive healing but a slight nerf to his sapling damage. This is good for his early game because it's actually harder for him to get poked down when he can heal back a decent amount of his HP by autoing minions. I think the way to play Maokai now is to play him tank with Q max into W max. He'll still have massive zone control with his E and ult, and reliable ganks up with Flash W. So overall, still a solid pick. Last but not least, we have the most overhyped champion of the patch, which is Sona. The first change they made is reverting the change where you had to hit an aura to get some mana back and increasing her mana cost. Now all her spells cost 25 mana cheaper, so you don't have to land the aura anymore. So I consider this a small buff. Her next change is she now has a new passive to replace her old passive that gave her abilities 10% cooldown at rank 1. Now instead, you get 0.5 ability haste per ability that you hit. This means that for this change to be a buff, you would have to land 20 spells before level 6. Now what this means for Sona is she will have to play slightly more risky in lane to get her stacks, and also have to use a lot more mana in lane. I think her playstyles will be less flexible for this reason, because before you used to be able to just play super safe and not really have to be that aggressive, but now you kind of have to interact more, which I think is bad for her because she dies pretty easily. On top of that, once you get 60 ability haste after hitting 120 spells, you will start to get cooldown reduction on her ult. But from my experience, the game is usually over before you hit this point, so even though it's a nice change, you rarely get to use it. Oh, I almost forgot about Tahm Kench. So Tahm Kench got a slight nerf to his passive damage and Q heal. Very small change. It should not change where he's placed on the tier list, though I do think he's better top with items. Alright, so without further ado, here is the tier list for 11.16. First of all the supports are playable on this list, so if your support made the list, congratulations. So champions in the S and A tier are almost always good to have on the team, whereas the champions in B and C are situationally good. But I'm going to go over a few of the picks that I have on the list, but I won't have time to go over all of them. So if you have any questions, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. So we all know about Leona. She's been in the meta forever. Tanky, she doesn't die, lots of CC. You guys know the deal. But I actually think Rel is even better. It feels like Rel has no losing matchups. Like, there are champs that can cancel her jump, like Thresh Flay or Gragas Body Slam, but she can still win those matchups by engaging unmounted or fast flash engage. She is like a pretty unpredictable champ, and she outputs a lot of kill pressure in lane, but she also has some like pretty insane team fighting with her WRE combo, locking down the entire team for seconds. I think she just has a lot of opportunities to win the game, whether it's like through lane or through like comeback potential or skirmishing. So I really like her right now. New to the list and rising in popularity is Trundle support. So he's slowly been getting buffs patch after patch, with a pretty decent sized one in 11.9, where his slow on pillar rank 1 increased from 20 to 32. I think Trundle is good situationally against melee supports who he almost always wins trades against, because he just takes Hail of Blades and he on them with Qs and autos. And if he's ignored in the lane or a trade, he'll just go for the ADC and solo kill him. So, and in the mid to late game, he's really good against immobile comps due to the pillar, and good against solo frontline comps like people who have Sion frontline only or Leona, because he can just ult the frontline and your team can kill them really fast when they dive in. Next off, I want to talk about when to pick Sona, because even though I rated her in C tier because she's not the best pick in most cases, I do think she has a very specific niche where she shines. For your comp, you generally would want a traditional front to back comp with a tank in the front, you know, AD carry, mage, whatever. Sona really wants fights to go long, because she can stack her Moonstone and spam heals and auras in a long fight. You also really only want to be picking her against a bot who doesn't have kill and roam pressure on you, like other enchanters or low damage tanks like Braum. If you can get to mid game without the game going boom, under these conditions, she can carry a game. No problem. So that concludes this tier list video. If you guys have any questions, just let me know down below. Other than that, please subscribe if you want to see more tier list videos for the upcoming patches. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.